Alrighty. I think we're live, gentlemen. I think
Sweet.
f- I think for the first time in the history of the ASA podcast, we are live, which is a new thing for us, a new thing we've never seen before. So I'm about it. Um, so obviously, as such, if you happen to be in the crowd, one of the handful of people who really want to listen to us live, uh, if things sound weird or the chat is broken, um, Ben says his sound went away, so we're starting off really hot. Um, Harrison, is your sound still here?
Sorry, you got me right as I mean it's not a brown it's not a brown liquor special, but it's not far from
Okay,
a brown liquor special. I can hear you just fine.
fabulous. Well, Ben, feel free to
I'm
read.
back.
Okay,
Can you hear
we're
me?
good. Yes, we
We're
can.
good. Cool.
All right. Well, what we thought we would do is we thought we would talk about the playoff games as the play-in game. The final play-in game is happening live. And yeah, that's kind of all we thought about this. We are watching the remainder of Orlando getting stomped by Chicago. We should probably talk that game and
Mhm.
then that series, which is going to be the 8 against the 1, so the Union against the Chicago Fire. Ben and Harrison, I said that I thought Chicago were ripe for a little upsetty set. I did not mean in this game because I thought I didn't. I first off didn't think they'd expect to play Orlando, but uh, the Fire against the Union, is that moving you in any way, Ben?
I'm really liking what I'm seeing from the offense. I don't know if it's gonna mean much because, like, towards the end of the second half, the defense from Orlando has just been bad. Like that third goal, the left back is just completely out of position. Runners were have been free all of the second half, and they had been threatening all first half too. So I'm wondering if Orlando at this stage of the season is a representative defense for the Fire going forward, but they're clearly the better team. They're clearly the ones who deserve to move on, I think, based on even before the goal started happening.
I mean, I think that at one point in this game, this may have changed now. I got to check. But like for the first 70 minutes of this game, Orlando didn't take a shot. Like that's a real. There's maybe some real defensive signal there for you. So now they go into a series where they play the Union, who are one of the league's most high-powered attacks. They're also exceptionally good at using their defensive ideas to create chances. Harrison, how do you feel about that as a series from what we've seen with Chicago, but also with the Union, who like kind of were very good this year?
I mean, yeah, kind of were really good, right? Like the Union were very good, and I think that your perspective that Chicago has that defensive knack that they can and not just knack but the structure that comes with the Berhalter teams, right? They have really good structure, and I think the one thing that worried me coming into today was how would that structure look like. And spoiler alert, it's really good. Like it does provoke thoughts that, you know what, maybe they could be a really tough opponent for a team like Philadelphia. I don't know. There's some people that have thrown out some different ideas on whether or not Chicago could be real, especially against a team such as Philadelphia, like you said, that's been so good. Um, right now, I think you have to just assume that Philadelphia is going to come out with everything pumping, as they do, and they're going to take it to Chicago hard. But it will be really interesting to see if Chicago can keep that defensive structure and can kind of stave off that first and second wave, and then move in and transition to that 20th, that 10 and 20th minute, and then they're actually in the game. I think if you start seeing that point, I think at that point in time, it's like, okay, maybe Chicago can start developing some patterns of play themselves and can start doing more than just transition defense and try to counterattack, they're going to start developing some possession themselves. And I think that's when you'll actually start wondering whether or not Chicago has a chance to really kind of upset Philadelphia. So that's what I'll be watching for.
I think the point you make about like surviving the first wave, like the Union are, I would actually love to have this data. I'm sure, well, we do have it. I just would love to have thought to pull it. But I wonder if the Union rank very highly in like first 15-minute goals, something like that. Because they feel so like rock'em sock'em that
Punchy.
I think like if you, I think the way you phrase that is if you survive the first wave, like you have a much better shot at kind of taking it. Go on, Ben. Is there
So,
anything from that series that stands out to you?
well, if I'm remembering correctly, Chicago have already gotten punched in the mouth pretty
Yeah, I think they
fiercely in
lost
Chester. It was like
by
five
seven.
zero 6. Was it the 7-0? So yeah, that was the one where Triple G had to apologize afterwards. So like they're gonna be motivated. Like I think that's gonna be where like, okay, we've been through this before. We've made the mistakes that let it get out of control. Are we gonna be able to learn from that? Are we gonna be able to adapt our structure to, withstand the most extreme pressing that you're gonna find in MLS? Because that once they get through that, then I think that's going to be. I mean, Messi's messy, but apart from like in terms of team tactics, I think that's probably the biggest Achilles heel for Chicago. So if they can get through that, like they're good. They're playing really well right now.
If you were to like handicap it, like implied probability type deal, like what are the chances Chicago can steal the series?
Like
Because like to me, as much as I'm like Chicago could cause an ups, it's like 15%, maybe.
I'll I'll give them 25-75.
Harrison, are you like similar or less, more?
I think that's fair. I think 25-75 is a proper and even might be a little bit kind to Chicago. It's
Hmm.
probably closer to 2080. But I think knowing what we do right now about how Chicago responded tonight and how their structure looks tonight, I think giving them a little bit more credence at this point in time is a little bit fair. That being said, yeah, they they got shellacked, and it's gonna have to be they're gonna have to make some serious adjustments. I'm very curious as to how that'll look.
I'd have to do the mental math on um Jamin Moore coming in with stats in the chat that of their 56 goals, they scored 14 in the first 30 minutes and 9 in the first 15. 9 in the first 15 feels like a lot. Like that is almost exactly 1/6 of that stat total. So it's like in line proportionally, but we know more goals are scored in the second half than the first half. So that's pretty fun. That's, I guess maybe that's not a hugely above expectation amount, but that's a good number to have. That's why we love having the members of the ASA community here. I think if you do the math, like the implied probability of a 60-40 favorite is about 75%. I'd have to do the math on that off the top of my head.
I'm always so bad at those odds conversions.
Um, it's, I think actually 60-40 and best 2 out of 3 is like 67% or 68%, something like that, that you're to go through. Um, so like maybe, maybe. I think it's probably quite a bit higher than that. I think one of the things like we spoke about best of 3 at length last year is I think for teams like the Union, uh, the way they play is so well suited to a situation where if you lose one game, it's not that big a deal. Where like they can come out and press and be aggressive. They don't have to be scaredy cats, as it were, in the fears that like they concede a handball penalty and lose and they're out. So we will see. Next up, any other comments on this series, or do we want to move on to we'll move on to our next series. Any other
I'm
final
just kind of
thoughts?
curious from both of you guys. How do you guys feel about Philadelphia? I mean, we kind of did couple weeks ago we talked about Philadelphia being like, obviously we had a bias against them coming into this season and everything. How do you feel now? Do you feel almost like maybe you might have swung the opposite way, or how do you feel about Philadelphia coming into this? I'll let Ben go, and then Kieran, if you have any comments.
So I've been checking my bracket close just to make sure I can set it and forget it before everything goes forward. And I have them going to the Eastern Conference Finals and then going down to Miami, losing at that point. So I think I've probably trended up on them. I think their system's working. I think their players are firing, and I the models just love them every time. And they've been to MLS Cup recently twice. So it's really hard to not bet on this roster. I think I had them who they'd go against NYCFC in the next round probably. It's NYCFC or Charlotte likely. So like I just am betting on them. I think they're hot and I think they have the home field advantage.
We have also just kicked off in Portland RSL, so if anything happens in that game, you will see us react to it live, which is very fun. I think the place that I get to with the Union is they feel like a regular season team to me. So like as much as I say the their style or their style is well suited to a best of three because they don't have to worry about losing, as it were. Um, I think that generally, and this is going to sound weird because like they had the lowest xGA in the East. I don't think energy drink soccer is particularly well suited to the playoffs. They had vaguely the tied for best expected goal difference in the East. Them, Miami, and Nashville, we'll talk about those teams, all had about plus 18, plus 19. However, there's a lot of just absolutely smoking garbage teams in there. And like ringing up XGD, like 4 of their expected goal difference comes from one game against the Rapids, for example. Sorry, Ben.
I remember that game.
And I'm not gonna lie, I fully looked at you on the screen when I said that. And there's like they beat up on some teams, but if you look at them in the biggest games, like nice win against FC Cincinnati. FC Cincinnati had like pretty terrible underlings this year. Lose to Nashville, lose to Miami, lose to New York, draw Miami, lose to Columbus, lose to Nashville, uh, lose to the Whitecaps really big, lose to Nashville in the U.S. Open Cup, beat NYCFC, lose to Charlotte the last game of the season, which like whatever, it didn't matter. I look at it and say like this is a team I expect to take care of business and beat Chicago. But if you told me they lose 2-1 on aggregate in what is a pretty stodgy series against New York or Charlotte, I wouldn't really be surprised. Like I would say again, we looked at this right with the playoff matchups a few weeks ago in terms of championship probability, but I just don't see. I don't know. I think the East has a lot of teams that are good enough to beat them, and I don't back their ability to vanquish them all, as it were. I don't know. I don't know what they could do differently though that I would feel differently about that.
Well, so here's I'm looking at the team goals added on the app right now, and I'm looking at the again. Oh no, never mind. I was looking at the wrong team. I take it back. Well, I was going to say they're particularly vulnerable to receiving, but that was Orlando who's particularly vulnerable to receiving, as we just saw. So.
Yeah, that did happen. No,
Yeah.
I just I don't know. I don't know what, like I have all these complaints about them, right? And like there are teams that I'm like, yeah, if they did this differently, I would feel better about that thing. But I don't know what I look at the Union and I'm like, I wouldn't feel this way. Like if they had a plus 30 expected goal difference, I would still feel this way. I would still look and be like, I don't know, man. Like there's some energy drinkness to you. Like Andre Blake is kind of up and down. Like what happens there? Like is the touche is like all just like the kick long and press? Is that I don't know. I don't know. I think like if you told me they won the whole thing, I'd be like, all right, they were the best team in the East. But if they lost, I'd be like, well, there's the Union. Like there's no win. There's no win
It's
for them. I
wide,
don't think.
a a big window of yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, I think they're like a reasonably high variance team too. Like I don't think that's an I don't think that's an unreasonable
Hmm.
vibe of their talent. Harrison, are you like where like do you think they're if I said you have to pick a round they go out in, what are you picking?
I mean, I think it's split between that first round against Chicago and possibly either Cincinnati or Miami. I know we keep giving it to Miami as if
Wait, so
Miami
you
is
think
going to be.
you think they go out first round or they go out conference finals?
I feel like it's one or the other there. Yeah.
See, I weirdly I think the second round is like the one.
You think that's a trap game?
No, I think like the 3 game series, like we saw last year that the better teams won those at like a pretty good rate. And like the worries about, oh, you can just get 2 shootouts were mostly unfounded. I think to me, the I guess it's the quarterfinal, the conference semifinal, but the
Yeah.
quarterfinal game. I think that's the one that you really worry about. Just because like it's 2 games. Or is it single elimination this year? Who knows? I think it's single elimination.
Yeah, it's single elimination after round first round.
Like that's a big risk. But if you win that game, now you're kind of like settled. You're like in playoff mode. Um and I don't know, are they doing the international break in between this year? Maybe, probably because
I
it's
think I
MLS.
think there's I think there's pretty long gaps between those later rounds. Yeah.
Like that's the one I look at for Miami and I'm like you can't let Messi go away to Argentina in that break if that happens. Um, by the way, like Diego Luna just like running around pressing like a madman is very fun to watch. He's like not that good. He is not good enough for how much usage he has, but he is so fun. Let's talk about New York Charlotte, NYCFC and Charlotte
Oh, yes.
as we named them Charlotte. Um, Wilfred Zaha is
Who are
suspended.
you, Johnny Depp? You can just say that.
What? Charlotte? What did I miss?
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Oh, I love it.
That was how we spelled it. Uh, Wilfred Zaha is suspended for 1 game. Uh, I believe that it is not clear yet whether his second yellow card should have been a straight red or not, because he did just punch someone off the ball. So
I mean, just.
If our friend MLS for F Stats is here and wants to pop a comment saying whether that's been confirmed or denied, um, like it is not impossible that Zaha is out for the whole series. With that being said, Ben, like I know Charlotte do the like defend and transition thing, which should work for playoff soccer, but like New York seemed quite considerably better than them, I think.
They do it. I think they're a team that will be able to pick that apart pretty handily, especially at the home field advantage on a weird, awkward baseball diamond that seems to make people uncomfortable. I think they'll be okay. And I'm really concerned about Charlotte's underlying numbers. Like they're down with some like the goals added difference is down with some of the worst teams in the league, with the Revs and the Galaxy and with Montreal. So
They
the
have virtually the identical expected goal difference as Atlanta, who like
yeah,
fought
it's
to avoid the spoon on the
yeah,
final day.
and if you've been following Elliot's the good, the bad, and the unlucky charts on Blue Sky this year, you know that Atlanta actually have been like significantly underperforming their numbers, and Charlotte have been significantly overperforming their numbers. And this is where that type of variance can get you. I don't think Atlanta were as bad as they looked. I mean, maybe in vibe, maybe the vibes just sort of tanked them after a while, and they did become that bad. But Charlotte, I like Charlotte and Cincinnati, I think, are kind of the frauds in the Eastern Conference. I think the Eastern Conference has been really strong, and I don't think those teams have always been so weak, and they definitely have the talent. But as in terms of team cohesion and in terms of being able to do something other than survive and get some pretty brilliant individual goals every now and then, I don't think they have much to offer. And I think NYCFC is going to be able to carry this in 2 games.
Yeah. I mean, I'll put it this way, like when we were putting together the best 11 ballot, which is just it is a ranked short list into a reasonable formation of net G plus. There were no Charlotte players even like on the radar. And there were like um admittedly there weren't a whole lot of New York City guys either, but Charlotte just like analytically did not show up as a team that like from a points perspective that things liked. However, Harrison, before I let you give your Charlotte takes, I think stylistically they are very well suited to knockout play. They have a very good goalkeeper. They're good on set pieces. They're reasonably solid defensively. Like you can construct the narrative in your head if they went on a run that you're like, oh, that's exactly what happened. Obviously, I, however, agree with you, Ben. I don't think they have. I don't think they have a chance. Elliot McKinley is here in the chat and says Charlotte are frauds, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they fraud their way to beating NYCFC. And this is exactly the point, right? Like if they frauded their way to things, like you can see exactly how it happens.
Well, so here's what in terms of frauds, their stout defense, they are the second worst team in terms of goals added against at 54. And
Oh,
maybe
oh
maybe
wow.
you can say that's because they were playing so deep, but if you're playing so deep that you're letting that wait, that's
You
like
know what?
almost two per
They're not.
game.
They're
Like,
second worst by expected goal difference, so they're letting the shots as
yeah,
well.
yeah. Like yeah, I'm
But
not convinced. I
but
think
by
they've
goals
been pretty lucky.
against, they're mid table because
We've got one analytic.
Kalina's the
Yeah,
boy.
I mean that's it.
Harrison, where are you at? Like you're usually the dissenting opinion for these teams that Ben and I are like, no, they suck. So give me some hope. Why should we believe?
No, I think you covered Cincinnati. I think you covered Charlotte just fine in the context of like they have that ability. Number one was Zaha, who's going to play above the numbers for the league, right? He's going to play above the numbers. They have Christian Kalinga, that's going to obviously be a great goalkeeper. La da 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 da. I don't have a lot outside of that. Like I think Charlotte hired a witch at some point in time, and they have an
You
Etsy witch.
you and your Etsy witches.
Etsy witch is real. Ask the New York Knicks, ask the Seattle Mariners.
I
Like you
listen.
can go on stretch.
Etsy
You can
witches
go on
aren't
stretches.
Etsy witches aren't. Oh, here we go. There's a big chance for
Ooh.
our sell. Etsy witches aren't allowed in Canada, and
Well, obviously, okay. We saw that. All right. Thank you for that, Kieran.
George
Don't
Springer.
need me to cry on live television. So here's the other thing, right? Um, I will say, and I will give you a little bit of hope for anybody that might rewatch this or be in. They are fourth in passing for according to G plus. And the one thing that you need is good tight passing to go up against New York, especially on that pitch. They have the passers, they have the ability to connect the dots really well and really in sync with one another. So that is one thing that you can say. They can very much control the narrative against New York City. I'm with you guys. I question whether or not they're a good enough team. I really do. That midfield seems like cans and like freaking thread that you put together and you've made yourself some sort of contraption that's really cool when you're in fourth grade and really bad when you're an adult. Like I have nothing else for you. Like that's not great. They have a lot of talent. It just really hasn't necessarily shown itself in numbers. So I really don't have anything to add.
So in their two matches this year, uh, Charlotte won the first game at home 2-0, even by expected goals. They lose the second game away 2-0, and it's a deserved 2-0 loss. I think Charlotte going on like a real nice winning run down the stretch with like not supportive underlyings of that winning run. Like if you look, this is like honestly a pretty god tier run in the league.
It
From
is.
July 12th, they win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 consecutive,
Um,
and they win 11 of 13
Well, not
down the
only that,
stretch.
there's a stretch where they win 1-0 against Cincinnati, 1-0 against RSL, 1-0 against Red
Yeah.
Bulls, 2-1 against New England, 3-0 against Miami. Like
But then
holy shit,
but
they
then
just
you look at the expected goal differences in those games, right? 2-0 win against NYFC is a zero expected goal difference game. They beat DC United 2-1. It's a +2 XGD game. They beat Atlanta. It's an even game. They beat Toronto. It's a 2-1 game. They beat Cincinnati. It's a 1-2 game or an 0-1 game. They beat RSL in a 1-1 game. They beat New York in an 0-1 game. They draw the
we have a
Revs.
very valuable analytic,
And it's
and
the
that's
score. I
the
know,
scoreboard.
I know, I know.
Ball go in
It is ball going. Listen,
or
I
ball
watch.
not go in because of Kalina, I guess.
Yeah, but you just go through all those games, and it's like they play a whole lot of even games, and just like a
Hmm.
lot of coin flips comes up heads.
Makes me
So
think of the Revs run for their supporter shield point record breaking season where they were getting a lot of one goal games. Like they had good underlying numbers, a lot better than Charlotte have now, and even then they needed that extra margin on the top.
I think one of the things that's like very fun about MLS is when we did replication project stuff, and you look at the old like does XG work in MLS because everybody's the same, and it's like the answer was like maybe sort of kinda. Um, I think one of the things that's really fun is that because the difference between the best team in MLS and the worst team in MLS is maybe only half a goal, like half a goal a game. Whereas in the Premier League, for example, the difference between the best team and the worst team at the end of the season is 2 goals a game of goal difference. I think you always just end up with teams like this. Like you are guaranteed mathematically to have two teams like this every single season. Harrison, what's up?
Sasha question. I wrote this down for today. I skeeted it. I didn't tweet it. I skeeted it.
I don't like that word.
No, you don't. I know we've had this conversation, so I said it when I said. Uh, XG is like those old DC United jerseys. They're really cool, but they never win. Sasha question.
I mean, that would be a compelling argument to me if like the last like LA Galaxy just won a title after they hired an analytics GM. Like all of the good teams of the except for like Portland fluking it are all clubs run by
Yeah, Portland's
analysts.
Portland's the other one this year.
Yeah, yeah, but well, Portland's frauded every year. There's like they've got 4 Etsy witches buried in the like groundwater under the stadium.
Living in the sewers.
That's Portland. They have to, that's just where they live, dude. Like you can't hate on them, all right? That's just where they're
That's
don't
just
hate the
Portland.
unhoused, okay?
Isn't that why they don't have grass? Because there's like a river under the stadium and they can't.
It's below the water table or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that being a thing when they were like, yeah, we looked at it, but there's a river and we can't, or there's a sewer. Or
There's a river.
It'll just flood. It'll just flood constantly,
that's how Merritt
basically.
Paulson sounds in my head. I have literally never heard. Does he even own the Timbers anymore? I don't know, but I've never heard him speak. Thank God. But we'll see.
I mean,
Uh,
does anyone own the Timbers? I mean, come on.
the Sounders do most of the time. I had to
That's not
get.
even true. That's
It's
not
not.
even
It's
true,
it's
and I thought
not.
it was funny.
It's not. But it's a good line.
I'm like, I'm talking shit about the Timbers, and every time the Rapids go there for the past 3 seasons, they just get creamed over and over. So,
Well, that's the Chris Armas effect.
I have
I
to
think
say
it might
one.
predate
By the
that
way,
too.
I want to say this. I want to say one Armas thing, which is not related to the playoffs at all. He said a very snarky, rude thing to the Burgundy Wave guys. And I was like, you're such a piece of shit. And then I will say, he called and was like, actually, my bad. So I will say, like, you don't get that much credit for just canceling out your initial mistake, but I appreciate that he did, because like he could have not, and nothing
Hmm.
would have changed. He's still gonna lose his job, and like it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
But I
It does matter.
appreciate.
It does matter.
But no, you're right. It does matter, and I appreciate that he did it.
Hmm.
Yeah, because Matt Pollard, like he's been there for how many years, Ben?
Oh,
Like,
like at least he's been riding at least 10 years.
yeah,
If
he's been there a lot of years, and he's seen a lot of coaches, and he has a lot of like
Oh,
MLS is such a closed league. It really is. It's a very closed league. There's not a lot of outside media that covers this league, and for Matt to spend the amount of time that he
Mhm.
has earned the right to ask tough questions. And you know what?
it
I
wasn't
don't
even
care.
a tough question.
It
He said,
wasn't
"How?"
even a tough question.
Well, and
Even if it was, even if it was a tough question, even if it was a, hey, how would you grade yourself under the pretense of all these different mistakes that you've made, like calling him to the carpet for what he hasn't done in his 2 years, and especially in the back half of this season, which he deserves. Matt Pollard deserves grace to be answered that question with respect. And the fact that at least he called himself out and said, nope, I did a bad. I had some unresolved issues there. I did not act professional in that setting. At least he owned it. At least he owned it, because you know what? We need to give these people that are covering our sports, Jeremiah Oshan, Laura, and I can't remember her last name, over there in Cincinnati. There are so
and
Failer.
she had a really good post recently too. Just maybe not necessarily about this because I do think
It was
Armis is
about the
given a lot of access,
it was
but
about
it's
the
yeah,
just
she was
AI
about the
stuff.
access.
I think there's a
Yes.
general pattern here about how the overall league and team structures interact with journalists and provide the access. And I actually think the Rapids have been doing a pretty good job. Like, Pollard gets interviews. Like there's been a lot of increase in the media, independent media sphere on the Rapids in the past couple of years.
Well,
But I hear a lot of the times like you'll go on like the digital conferences, and all you're getting is a digital news conference after a game, and you'll have one reporter show up
this is
because
what
what is even the point anymore? Because there's no access for people.
Well, this is exactly the point I was going to make. It's like, I guarantee you that more than once this season, the only person in a pre or post match Zoom press conference was Matt Pollard. Like
Exactly.
that is, I know for a fact in Toronto that there were times that the he's not waking the red anymore, but um, Molinaro was the only guy in the TFC one, or the Waking the Red guys before Waking the Red. It's still around, but it's like a different thing now. They were the only person there. Like, for sure, it happened. I've seen it. Um, so, like, again, we saw the whole thing with when all of the SB Nation blogs kind of collapsed. But, like, for you as a coach, like, there's your only incentive is actually to, like, interact with those people well.
Mhm.
Because, like, if they criticize you, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like, it's and Jamin Morris is in the chat, who was like was at Quake stuff all the time as a former team coverage guy covering every presser here. Like, if they criticize you, nobody cares. If they have a good relationship with you, like, you can actually do a lot of really cool things. That's a great save, and that's a great goal.
Holy smokes.
Set pieces.
Felipe Mora. He's done
All
very
right,
well.
Timbers are timbering.
one of the most redeemable like pieces that they've kept around for good reason. Like, honestly, like
His numbers are sneaky.
his numbers are sneaky.
You know,
Agreed.
you know what I'm most pleasantly surprised? Our stream was real in sync there. I was like real
Mhm.
worried that like
I,
one of
I
us was going
actually
to be
was
ahead,
too. Yeah, with like 10-second gap or something. You're like,
but
what happened? What happened?
that was pretty good. That's that's
That's a great save.
honestly, he's very unlucky with that
Yeah.
rebound.
Yeah, there's not much you can do about that. That's just unlucky.
It's crazy that he got the header and the follow up.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like
he's like
that in and of
reacted
itself.
well.
Yeah. Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah. That was a great hit. Good job.
Nice goal.
One other person that I want to shout out is Dustin Richardson over there at Houston Dynamo, who does Dynamo Theory. A friend. So just want to shout him out as well.
Uh, all right, give me your New York Charlotte prediction. Who wins? How many games? Ben,
I think it's two. I
you
think
think
New
it's
York
two?
City goes in two.
All right, Harrison. What about you?
I want to get this. I'm setting this up.
Did you just crack a can into your mic?
listen, listen. I think that could go either way. I don't think that there's one team that is guaranteed. Like, I think that is almost 45-55 in New York City's favor.
So
And I will take a bar from Matt Doyle, and I will say no one wants to face Matt Freeze and PKs.
yeah,
Or Kalina for that matter. Let's be real.
Freeze has a better
Yeah,
track record.
it's true.
Like
But
you're not wrong. I'll give that to
it
you,
will
but
be
Freeze has a better track record.
any shootouts are going to be what some of the more interesting shootouts. That's another prediction I'll make.
Epic for sure. For sure.
if Charlotte were not the higher seed, right? If New York were the higher seed, I would call this a 2-0. But because Charlotte are going to get the first game at home and what we know MLS home advantage looks like, I'm going to say it's a 2-1.
I mean, home advantage is what, half a goal? Is it a little
It's
bit
a
more than
lot.
one?
It's a lot in MLS. Like,
Yeah, I mean it's half a goal is a lot. I mean, like Kieran was saying, half a goal is can be the. I mean, it's probably more like a full goal is the difference between the best and the worst team
yeah,
in
you're
terms of
right. You're right.
absolute. But it's these are. I mean, that's two or three shots difference if ball go in. So
So like
it's true.
New York were +6 and Charlotte were -4. So that's a quarter of a goal a season. Like a little bit more. So like definitely smaller than home field advantage between the two.
Mhm.
So, but I will say NYC in 3. And I'll say like maybe some free heroics for the narrative in game 3. That'd be fun. Next series,
Oh
my
man.
Miami Nashville. This is my pick of the first round. I think this is the single most interesting series in the first round bracket. I think it may be the most interesting series we get all playoffs. I think the conference finals will be great, but I think you look at the history, and my cursor keeps going on the screen, so I apologize, but you look at the history of these two teams playing each other, and it is just bangers.
So this is what I was gonna say is my proposal to you two is Miami's principal rival and Nashville's principal rival are now each other. I think
Oh,
especially after the season, like every year that's going to be a fire matchup and they'll start to be actually lining those up on rivalry weeks just because of the organic matchups that they keep facing each other.
I don't disagree. I think Orlando's really high on that list for Nashville.
That's fair.
Or
I
Orlando
mean,
and
and I
Nashville
mean,
have
and for Miami too, because of the
I mean that too,
geography.
yeah.
But
But Nashville has had some antagonistic games against Orlando and vice versa, like fans and all that other stuff that happens in the background that sometimes that like we don't see because we look at the whole league. But man, I feel like we want this to be a better matchup than it actually is.
uh,
I think
mm,
Miami sweeps. And
wow.
like I
mm.
think one game will be close. I don't think the second game will be as close.
So let me lay out their last couple matches. So you have Miami win 5-2 in what is like a 4-3 expected goal difference game. And it is admittedly 2-2 until like the 70th minute, and then Messi just goes ballistic. You have a 2-1 Miami win in an even XG game. You have the final of, was it the final of Leagues Cup? Am I correct in remembering that?
Yes.
Was it the
Well,
final? I can't remember. I thought it was the
I
final.
can't remember.
Um, and you have the CONCACAF Champions Cup round of 16 game between the two of them. Like, you just have a real set of games. And now, Harrison, what I think you are correct is like Miami win all of those games. However, I think there's a lot of fun in that. And this Nashville team is much better than last year's Nashville team for all of those comparisons. So I think kind of broadly that I don't know. I think it'll be close. I don't think it'll be 2-0. I think Nashville will get a game. I think Miami are too, because remember, this is Saturday. It is Saturday, Saturday, Saturday. It's not Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. But they're old, man. They have so much risk. And like sometimes they just fall apart as a team.
That's why winning
They
winning
tied
the second
Toronto.
game is so important. Like if they don't win that second game, I will tell you right now, the chances of them winning that third game go down dramatically.
I if Nashville were the top seed, I think I would pick them to win the series. But like again, I feel like such a
If they had home field.
yeah, like I feel like such a cop out being like home field's gonna win it. Like I think Miami are probably a little bit better.
So their goals data difference was is basically identical for the season. So like in terms of the broadest underlying numbers for the whole pitch, they're about equal. And I think their strengths are different. Like I mean, it's always going to be through Messi eventually for Miami. Like he's going to be running the show. And I think for Nashville it is more of a system. Like they have that more defined style. They have I think they have more reliable weapons. Not that Miami's other players aren't dangerous, but if you have Surge and if you have Mukhtar and if you have the possession engine to like keep that delivery up, I think we saw it sputter. I don't know, maybe it was after subs or maybe after Miami just sort of hogged more of the ball in the second half. Maybe that's it. Maybe if you deprive the engine of gas, it starts to sputter. But it's hard for me to bet against Nashville, and I don't think Miami's defense is going to be solid enough. But I also think this is just high variance based on how equal their numbers are. I could see 2-0 either way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be Bill Simmons and like default to like the great player theory, but like I do kind of get to a point where I'm like, I think these guys are vaguely even, but one of those teams has the best footballer to ever live. So like
I don't think you're Bill Simmons by saying, "Hey, I
Mhm.
think Messi might be in effect here." The
yeah,
Messi role.
I mean,
I
if you
don't.
read Doyle's columns, he's just saying like, I'm done betting against Messi.
no, this
I'm
is the
not doing
thing.
it
The guy,
anymore.
all comps at 37 years old or whatever, the guy has 50 goals and assists. Like he's I
The only question with Messi is he showing up for the entire game? Because you know he's going to show up at some point,
for sure.
whether he's getting subbed in, and you know he's going to be at the game because I like can't even remember a time he missed a game for injury for any team ever. So there's this certainty in terms of that, but
I,
he hasn't always won. Like it has fallen apart in these Miami teams for Messi a lot more often than anywhere else he's played,
I
except for maybe Paris. But
I did say in the MLS awards ballot was like the difference between Messi's season that he just had, which was 0.53 G plus above average per 96. The
Mhm.
difference between that season and the next best season of all time, which is Carlos Vela, which is like a god tier, indisputable, historic Mount Rushmore MLS season. The difference between those two would be competitive for MVP in most years, which is like, frankly, one of the most ridiculous things. I wrote it and I laughed to myself
That
about
was a
it.
great line.
Um, Catalina Bush, author of the Viz Hub, check out the Viz Hub, dropped a stat about Felipe Mora, who got his goal, that Felipe Mora has the 13th highest XG per shot across all seasons with minimum 4,000 minutes. That is higher than strikers
Wow.
like Benteke, Bradley Wright Phillips, and Josie Altidore. That is a
That's a big stat.
that's a bananas stat. Like that is
I did not expect that.
no.
I'm a little upset I have to give someone on Portland credit for something this year.
Well, you already said they were sneaky. Like you already said
I
more.
was thinking historic, like that's a lot better than I thought.
Well, I mean, it was better than I thought as well. I
I
thought
mean,
that's
it's sneakier than I
crazy. That's a
thought.
And he scores
crazy.
again. And he scores
Wow.
again with a
The
.99
commentator's
XG chance.
blessing. Wow.
With a .99 XG chance. Incredible.
And then he immediately hugs number 99. Nice.
You know what though? Portland is playing this exactly the way that they should, and that is they are giving RSL like the majority of the possession,
Mhm.
and then they're kind of creating quick off the cuff chances that are mostly high percentage. If they occur, they're high percentage.
Another great save and unlucky deflection.
Although
Man.
you know I hate crosses. Crosses. Are
That's a hell of a
You said
delivery, though.
I mean, yeah, sometimes they're good. What you're
Wait.
telling me is you're just a huge fan of the way Phil Neville coaches his teams.
Hold on. RSL made the Brazilian goalie captain in his first season at the club. He has the armband on. This guy's captain. Imagine you're Justin Glad. You have slaved away playing horrible soccer for Pablo
since
for
you're
years.
17. Since you were
Since
17.
since you were a child, since you were a junior in high school, it's your dream to captain this team, and now you got to watch this Brazilian octogenarian wear your armband.
Who's only signed because their goalie hurt himself early on in training.
No, I think he was brought in to start. No,
Ooh,
oh, Diego Luna's going
that was
nuts.
a good move. Oh, that was close.
Diego Luna,
close.
who we voted for the Audi Goals Drive Progress Impact Award for his big article drawing attention to mental health concerns, which I think we voted for mental health things last year for Darlington Nagby, I want to say. Which I thought was
I
fun.
think that's true. Yeah.
All right,
Facts.
give me your case. So like we all are like, okay, Miami are better and they have Messi. Ben, give me your like path to Nashville win the series.
The path to Nashville winning the series is they squeak out a first match win, I think. I think that the chemistry's not there. I think they're going to have to be a little more defensive. I think Miami will want the ball that first game, but I think if you frustrate them enough, you'll be able to have the structure and have the space behind in that scenario to punish them. And you've got Mr. Wide Open, Sam Surridge, who's always going to be able to I'm going to pick Sam Surridge over the center backs all day, every day. So if they can be stout and if they can, tee on those little moments where Messi has those like understated moments of influence where he passes the ball and then slips into the netherworld and reappears 10 yards away after you've lost sight of him. If you can try and minimize those, get that first win and then take it home and then run the ball at home and run that game the way you're used to it. I think that's probably the most likely way that they get out of it, with at least with the two wins up front.
I am going to. Oh, they've pulled one back. All right, it's our
Justin
boy.
Glad. It was
our
Justin
boy.
Taking his vengeance out on that goalkeeper.
Justin Glad's pissed.
We've got opposite the commentator's curse right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try and show this on stream.
Oh, short corner too.
So let's see how this goes. I'm going to share this and let's see how this goes. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
I can.
This is what I wanted to share, and this is my path to Nashville winning the series. Inter Miami are not a serious soccer team. Come on, with 6 players in the box. Look at my defensive transitions, dog. I'm going out in the first round tornado. This thread might get long. Sergio Busquets retired 3 seconds into this transition. It's basically performance art at this point.
Oh,
To paraphrase, like that is
well, is this not the scenario I just described on the road in Miami for Nashville?
like that to me. That's the path. Is that like they just don't defend transitions, and Nashville, who are like a very very good in possession team, like they are
Well, you know
being
Honey Mukhtar can do transitions. You know
and
he's got that in his toolkit.
and like they have Sam Surge and Henny Mukhtar who scored a combined 40 goals. Like if Nashville do the like keep the ball deep and Miami are like I don't want to do this anymore, and then they compress and then it's just zing over your head or give the ball away to those two in transition, like there is a path for Miami to get cooked. So like I think the path is like weirdly Nashville lean into like the Nashville of old of like, nah, we're gonna rip you on the break. We're gonna defend compact and we're gonna rip you on the break. Um, that I think is the path. Harrison, do you find that like a compelling storyline?
I think if Miami they lose to Jacob Schaffelberg. I think that's
Oh
I
boy.
like that sounds like such an inflammatory diss, but that is Nashville at its core, right? Like that is Andy Nahar, that is
I mean,
Gaston Brugman.
that's the Gary Smith special from the old days, really.
But it's not. Yes, but also no.
It's not.
Like
I mean, you're not. Yes. No,
yes,
I do know what you mean
Yes
though. I do know what
and
you mean though.
no.
No,
yes,
there is
and no.
like there was a thing like the Gary Smith Nashville teams where like the attackers were so isolated and so
Yeah,
disconnected that like
it's not going to
yeah,
be that.
yeah, they got stuff in transition, but it's like Jacob Schaffelberg sprinting in a straight line like Gareth Bale against Barcelona down the line, like
Yes,
just
yes.
zing. And now it's
Oh my
like
God,
and
yes.
now it's like okay, 1v1 against the fullback in the final third and you do it there. No, I get the point you're making though, Harrison.
Like at a certain point in time, it has to be somebody stepping up. Jacob Schaffelberg, we like gets shit on a lot for a lot of various things from an MLS perspective, but from a G plus perspective, has been a useful member of this team, and I think he just represents somebody on this team that's a useful piece. And
And
let's
he
just
just
face
scored
it,
against
Nashville.
Miami.
He did. He
Yeah,
did.
look, Nashville has a lot of useful pieces. And I think at a certain point in time, you're going to have to rely on those useful pieces because as much as Sam Surge, as much as Hani Mukhtar got you there during the season, you're going to need these extra pieces to step up and play a major role against a team like Miami. And you can point to Miami's game in the finals against Seattle, where there's different people that stepped up that weren't the big. It wasn't Pedro de la Vega. It wasn't some of these bigger players. It was the small pieces, right? That stepped up and played huge parts for Seattle. So that's more of what I'm meaning with Nashville.
All right, give me your pick then, Harrison. Who wins
Oh,
the
I
series?
still I still think Miami owns them. Like I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to give Nashville a reason to be hopeful, but I legitimately think it's going to be very close, and I think Messi is the deciding factor. I don't think that there's very much that's going to slow him down in the second half until the later parts of the playoffs. I think especially early, he's going to be a pain in the ass for any opposing team.
2-1, 2-0.
Yeah, I think 2-0. I
Okay.
think Miami take both games.
Ben?
I'll go 2 on Miami. I think Miami's going to do it, but I think the games will be good, and I'll just go home team wins each time.
I'll go 2-1 Nashville. I think like I think Columbus are going to smash Cincinnati. Like I
Yes.
don't think that's going to be a close series. Um
We should
I
probably
mean,
talk about them before this happens.
we are. Well, I've like timed it that we'll finish them before the second half starts for sure.
All right, sounds
But
good.
I just think like I look at the rest of Miami, the non-Messi guys, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if you're the boys here. Uh, and I think like I think like remembering the whole like 3 games you play the same opponent over and over, especially when you just played. Like I have a lot more. This is gonna sound crazy. I have a lot more faith in BJ Callahan to like address the tactical changes game to game from last game of the season to first game of the playoffs to second game of the playoffs to third game of the playoffs than I do Javier Mascherano. Like I just that's
Yes.
my vibe. So I'm gonna take Nashville 2-1. Harrison, give us your closing thoughts on this series.
I don't have any closing thoughts. I just want to clarify that you thought the team that has only won 2 games in the last 4 months was going to smash Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Is that's what you
Yeah.
guys said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do.
Yep.
I
Yes.
have no Cincinnati stock. It's all
No,
gone.
I mean, I think Columbus is getting hot at the right time. And I think
So let's talk.
And how many games have Cincinnati won in the past few games, Harrison? Maybe you should check that one too.
Let's.
They've
won 4 of their
haven't-
last 5. That was maybe
Oh,
They
not.
won 4 of their last 5.
Damn it.
And of those, that 5th one they drew. So like
Yeah.
they've
To be
won
fair.
points in 5 straight games. Like look, I get why.
To be fair.
To be fair, I get why you guys are down on Cincinnati. Totally understand it from an underlying perspective. The data looks bad, but I'm done arguing with Cincinnati against itself. Cincinnati can fucking eat and go. Go get it, girl. Go do it. Do it, lady.
I hear what you're saying, and I resent Evander as a player a lot. I think that's part of my haterade coming out about Cincinnati is I'm just like I'm tired of this hotshot who doesn't play with anyone winning games on his own. This annoys me.
So here's my thoughts. I think one, this series is going to be borderline unwatchable. So I think both of these teams hate each other. Like I think the hell is real thing is legit. Like I think
Yeah.
I think MLS as an organization have been blessed with this first round. Like Nashville, Miami, I think is a banger. I think Cincinnati, Columbus is a banger. I think Minnesota, Seattle is going to be a banger. I think Austin, LAFC is going to be a banger. Like I think they're all really good like narrative series. I think these two teams with Columbus doing the back 3 and the wing backs and the pin with 5 against Cincinnati, who are like, we're going to defend with 5 and we don't care. I hate watching back 3s play back 3s because it just turns into like my 5 match your 5 and we do nothing. We just do this forever. So I think it's going to be horrible to watch. That being said, I think Cincinnati are always in the realm of like horrible to watch and hope Evander wins you the game. And where I give Columbus the edge is I think vaguely Evander and Diego Rossi fall into like the same camp of like dudes-ish. But I think after those two guys, I think there's a much higher chance that like Arston or Habruni or Gazdag or Russell Rowe as a collective like win you the game. I think there's a bigger chance of that than Denki. You know what I mean? I just think like I also think Cincinnati are kind of ripe for like Evander has bailed them out all year and like eventually that card will not come up trumps.
100%. Agreed. Like their defense is like like you look at their defense and you're like, how can this be right? But this doesn't make sense.
But this is the thing, like it's not like there's some insanely good defensive team that has no attacking ideas. Like their defense is also bad. Like they had the exact same expected goals against as Montreal.
But what was their goals against?
Much better, much better. 12 goals. They were, and Montreal conceded 10 more than they expected. Like, very fortunate. Um, but like, I don't have this in front of me, so
They
uh,
were just so you know, they're third best in all of MLS.
I know, but like, hear me. Let me go look and see exactly how much of that is goalkeeping versus how much of it is. Uh,
I'm not saying it's not. What I'm saying is someone's showing up at school and saying like,
no, so
"Show
here,
me how you got to that number."
so
Like
here, so no, but
somebody's
so
auditing
here,
them.
so they're 12 goals better than their expected goals against. Celentano is 3 of that 12. So the other 9,
Yeah,
25% is just like dudes missing breakaways. And like, you could talk me into for example, maybe something structurally about Cincinnati, the way they defend, they get way more pressure on the
they have
ball.
a shit load of block shots.
Cool.
Load of block
No,
shots.
no problem, right? No problem.
Yeah, agreed.
However, last season they had 40 xGA and conceded 48 goals, and Celentano was also 0 on his. He was +1. So like, if it was a structural thing, I would want to see a history of like, no, Cincinnati consistently block significantly more shots than average, and because of that, yes, they have a high XG against, but actually you should adjust it down because of how they defend. But that's not the case. That was not the case last year. And I'm too lazy to go back and look before that, but it does not appear to be a
You're
structural thing.
absolutely. It makes no sense. Like it's that Pete Holmes. I don't know if you've ever seen Pete Holmes stand up, and it's just it makes no fucking sense. It makes zoom out, motherfucker. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
I'm with you. I'm with you, and yet Cincinnati,
Cincinnati in what? In
Two?
three?
a vendor. I give you this. It is an vendor. Here,
He had a great season. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think we were all
Hmm.
a little bit like squinty at
Well, I
that
think, and I
transfer.
think it's the Portland thing. It's like, well, he did a bunch of numbers by himself on a team that plays defensively and breaks on the counter and relies on individual talent. And then he moved to Cincinnati, and Cincinnati then became that exact same style of team.
No, and it turns out he is that bitch. Like, that
Yeah,
is.
but he still can consistently put the team on his back. I j- it's very possible Cincinnati is going to go. And again, they have the home field advantage. That's not something we can discount, and we can also definitely not discount how much less reliable Columbus's defense has been this year.
It's very
So
true.
like
how many
it's
games
like
have you guys won?
they're ready to be picked apart by someone who might dribble through them. So it's possible, but I just, especially because it's 3 games, I have to go with the underlying numbers. If they
How
make it through, I all bets are off, and they totally can fluke their way, as we saw with the Red Bulls. They totally can play
Oh,
that game.
That Red Bull team had way better underlyings though. Like, they were like a +10 expected goal difference team, I think.
But I'm talking about even just through the playoffs. Like I
Yeah,
don't think they
yeah.
beat a single team in XG through their whole run.
Oh
So
no, they like got destroyed
yeah,
by NYCFC and and shit house
exactly,
that series.
exactly.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, they got their goal of what, 20 minutes, and
yeah.
if they can get, if they can beat the repeated draws of this lottery that I see is much more stacked towards Columbus, then they might be able to do it with those one-offs and with those shootouts. But I still have to go with the numbers on these 3 game series, I think.
Harrison, I just poured myself a glass of this. It's
Ooh,
to make it a real. I got this at Costco for $20.
Ooh.
A
buddy.
12-year
All
Scotch at
right.
Costco for $20.
I'm gonna take a
That's
halftime and be back in 5 minutes with
Do,
my own beverage.
do your thing. Do your
All
thing.
right.
So Harrison, are you like I don't know. Get like, are you? What is it about? Is it just all Cincinnati side for you that pushes you that way, or is there something about Columbus? Is it the defensive
So it
stuff?
is. So I'm glad that you asked that question because you phrased it perfectly. It is something about Columbus. And so I was going through, so I started writing about Columbus back in August when we started talking about like doing a autopsy of the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, right? And I stumbled across some blogs and I had to rewatch some Columbus games. And between Doyle, between some of the Columbus fans, um, there was some interesting like chemistry, I guess, between that center midfield. And while it seems really good on paper, it's really kind of fucking awkward at times, like in actuality. And I I don't think it's a coaching thing, but I think it's legitimately like a human element type thing. And I don't know if it's that they don't love like each other or they don't trust each other or they don't trust the coaching staff. There is some element there within that midfield that just doesn't work. And I don't know if they need a come to Jesus moment and they'll get that here in the playoffs, but I don't trust it. And like this isn't just me. This is reading like Columbus tweets and skeets and blogs and people talking about this, and they just look. It just looks not right. It doesn't look good. And if it was any other coach, I would think they were on the hot seat. And
Oh,
then you
that
look
okay.
at the
Relax. That's a bit.
no. I truly mean this. Like I'm not trying to be like inflammatory or like crazy. I like their underlying numbers look great.
Well,
And
I
I
no, they don't look great. They look good, and I
okay,
think that,
great, good.
but I think
Good.
that's
That's a better one.
no, but I think
Yes.
that's meaningful because their numbers the last two seasons did look great, and this year they are just good.
And they've taken a step back. And with that, you know, they've had some injuries, Darlington Nagby. They've had some injuries to their center back situation to where they've had to rotate through those depth positions. And, you know, that all has some situations that come about. Okay, here's the thing. It just doesn't look right. And I don't know how else to explain it. And between just trusting that Evander is going to somehow figure out how to like propel Cincinnati forward and it not looking right. These are totally gut decisions, and I can't back them up with any discernible data. Like I'm being honest and transparent when I say this. I just don't trust Columbus right now, and that has been grating on me for 2 months. Like
No,
I
so
don't like that.
I think the midfield thing is a real thing. So like, let me give you some data. So Columbus 2 seasons ago, like plus 17 expected goal difference. Last season plus 14. This season plus 6. Right. And if you look, a big chunk of it is their goals against, their expected goals against goes from like 40 to 44 to 48. And there's a small decline in the attack as well, but it's much more on the defensive side. And I think it comes from predominantly the midfield. Darlington Nagby in 2023 was a negative 0.03 offensive G plus player. This season he was negative 0.07. So like, what does that say to you offensive G plus? One of the things we see consistently about good teams that look good defensively in MLS is they are able to get the ball out of their zone stably. Like Paul Harvey has a thing when we talk about defending that like the biggest sign of good defenders in MLS is that actually their ball progression is good because like someone like Keaton Parks maybe does not win the ball as much as Andres Cubas, but he moves it out of your zone, which is tremendously defensively valuable. Nagby has been worse. You add into that his defensive G plus and his G minus have both declined over that same time period. Then you look at someone like Aiden Morris, who is now gone. Excuse me, that was gross. But Aiden Morris is gone. Aiden Morris was a tremendously valuable defensive G plus and G minus guy. He covered a lot of ground. He kept things ticking over. He was not hugely valuable as a passer, but he was hugely valuable as like a I don't give it away stupid in my zone. We get it out of my zone. And that's been replaced by Dylan Shambo, who, if you recall, when we started looking at this, like Shambo was in the first draft of the best 11 for G plus.
Yeah.
His defensive G plus and G minus numbers are half of what they were for Aiden Morris. And so I think you go through and you look and say, like, no, actually this team is worse defensively. And I think there are other parts of it, right? Like I think their press is probably a little bit worse this year in general. Part of that is like Gazdag. Like Gazdag's just not, he's like almost 30.
You know how to piss off some Columbus fans?
Lots of ways.
Well, I mean, just
Yeah.
mention
some very obvious
Pre-court
ways.
did nothing wrong, baby.
Yeah.
You know what? You fell for my trap card. Daniel Gazdag is like such a hot button topic. Like the amount of hate that I see online for him is like I did not expect. Like I stumbled across that and like I was again, it was another like, whoa, what is this? And like I want to say, like, of all the people in ASA that like I fear, and I do want to say I fear because there's like ASA is loaded with smart people. Like Ben and Kieran, like when we have conversations, like they correct me on stuff, and I there is no argument. There's like, oh, I'm wrong. Like I fear Elliot McKinley like nobody else. Like I like if Elliot ever reaches out to me for something, for anything, I know I done messed up. It's
Yeah.
like one of those moments that you hope never actually happens to you. You hear stories about it, but you hope it never happens to you. I love Elliot so much and I respect him so much that I am scared to ever weigh in with an opinion on Columbus. And so when I say all this, I say this as all pretext so they don't get angry messages from him asking me what the hell I'm talking about. So continue on.
Well, I think I like we said, I think there's a lot of flaws with this team in the midfield. I think the ball progression from the back is like a real thing to talk about. Like Sean Zawadski's had like a very nice season for them playing as a center back a lot, but like for example, their most used or their most minutes played amongst defenders this year is Steven Moreira, Sean Zawadski, and Chaberko. Last year, there was a whole lot of Rudy Camacho and there was a whole lot of Malte Amundsen, who's only played about half the minutes this year. Amundsen and Camacho, those dudes can pass. Those dudes can really pass. And so I think that's the thing. However, as much as I have said that, I'm going to take Columbus 2-0. I think they win both games. I think they win both games 1-0 or they win in a shootout, but I think they win both games. Ben, who takes the thing? And Elliot says it's usually just Harrison's pronunciation for why he has to reach out, which is very good.
I mean, let's be real. Columbus and pronunciations,
They're
they
hard,
can throw some
man.
at you.
They're hard, man.
It's not just Columbus. I'm just an idiot. Like forget about this.
There's just
an
the
asshole.
overlap there. It's gonna happen more. It's gonna happen more.
Exactly. I appreciate you backing me up. Way to have my back, brother.
I'm gonna go Columbus in 3 or in 2. Well, in 3.
In 3. Harrison.
Yeah.
I have Cincy in 3.
Okay. So, Harrison, your first round, then, if I am correct, is Philadelphia, New York, Miami, and Cincinnati. Ben, yours is Philadelphia, New York, Miami, and Columbus. And mine is Philadelphia, New York, Nashville, and Columbus is my Eastern Conference first round. Um, Elliot says in relation to our talk of the Crew's midfield that I do think the Crew have not replaced Aiden Morris. There is nobody to put out the fires that Nancy's system always start, and I think
I've got a
I think it's true.
I've got a question, Elliot, that you can answer in the chat. Which of the Rapids' too many central midfielders would you trade and how much for?
You know who I think? I think Josh Atencio would actually be very fun. It's funny because
That's
we
a
all
good shout.
every time like uh, I will say this: someone who interviewed to be RSL's new head of recruitment for next season was like, just throw out a name of like somebody gettable or that might be gettable for RSL on the trade market. And I was like, Josh Atencio. That's the guy. That's the guy I would get. Is like if Colorado want to just move on right away, like I think he'd be so good for so many teams that like yeah, I would just that's what I would do. And like Atencio can do like he could do center back in the middle of a back three stuff for you. Like I think that's fun. I think Cole Bassett would cook for them.
That's what I
Um,
would. That's where I was going. Like, if you're willing to spend, like, I
like
really
a
like Cole
cash
Bassett
for.
as a player. Yeah, if you're willing to really break the bank on a cash for, I think Cole Bassett would cook with the Crew. And I really hate saying that because I really like him with the Rapids.
I think anyone who can like cover a decent amount of ground and is not like terrible in possession will be useful for that team.
I not a midfielder, but Kuda Petro would be somebody I'd throw out there. That would be
Not as
real.
a double six though. He'd be like one of the tens.
No, no, not as a midfield, not as a midfielder. Like, just be really interesting to throw into Columbus's system. That would be low cost. Would be somebody that I
He,
think would
okay,
could cook.
here's a theoretical. If you guys were Isatal, the GM of the Crew, would you rather? Okay, so let's say Alonzo Cuello at TFC, very nice player, becomes available for like a tradable number, not a cash for number, a tradable number, and his extension is like 600-700. Are you interested? Because like one of the things I have heard is like he wants a pretty big number on. He has a team option for this year, and he wants a pretty big number. But he's old enough because he's like 25 already that the transfer market for him is not exactly robust. So like I think someone's gonna end up trading for him for like maybe 1.5, something like that. Would that move you for Columbus? But we'll see. Like everything changes if they win a lot or if they go out in the first round. Like this is not an organization that's been shy about spending.
I
Um,
don't see that's the other thing is I don't think they need to have to go within the league. I think the
but they've
advantage of going in the league is it's a known product. But
yeah,
that's not like a restriction for them. Like if they
But
for
feel
sure.
like they're confident in an international market player, they're going to go out and sign them.
no, that's a fair point. But at the same time, like, you can't buy every position. You have to have cheap budget guys, and cheap budget guys are harder to come by than going out and paying somebody.
I
Like,
mean, let's be real. The right answer here is Crew 2. And who are you put who in the next
Yeah,
couple
I don't know.
years
I don't know the
is
crew
kind of
two guys this
I don't know.
year.
I don't
Like
either, but I mean that seems to be at least in the past couple years and with
you're not
Nancy's
wrong.
sort of ability to train up the young ones. If you're going in league budget, like that's probably the most preferred way for the Crew.
Yeah, and then it opens up. But they get off Nagby's salary this year because he's retiring. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
avenues. Let's shift west. So we'll start at the bottom of the bracket because this game could go either way still.
Mm-hmm. You got to shoot out.
Vancouver FC Dallas. Dallas had a. I owe Dallas an apology, is how I'm going to phrase this, because 6 weeks ago we podcasted and I said, "Who cares about Dallas? Who talks about Dallas?" And then
6 weeks
they.
ago they were dog water.
It's true. I think I even used the words dog water. And then they went unbeaten. They had one loss in their last 10 matches. They won against the Whitecaps on the final day to lock themselves in. They beat the Rapids, they beat Austin, they beat the Timbers, they drew the Timbers. Like they didn't exactly play a murderer's row down the stretch, but they did what they needed to do to get there. Mostly off the back of like pretty staunch back three, gross, deep block, like real gross, not usual FC Dallas stuff.
Twin striker stuff, which is not what it hasn't been what I've
Oh
expected
yeah,
from Dallas for
Anderson,
2015.
Anderson, Julio, Petar Musa, Logan Farrington, pick two, let's
Yeah,
go stuff.
yeah.
Uh, I will like get my take out of the way very early. I think they got no shot against Vancouver. I think Vancouver steamrolled them. They needed like a very fortuitous red card very early in the game, and they still barely deserved. Actually, I don't think they deserve to win the game really at all. I think they got no shot. I think Vancouver wins 2-0. I think Vancouver are the things that Jesper Sorensen has done. Like again, I said it in the awards ballot. Like all of his first 5 center backs are injured. 5. Like and not it's not like it was a weak position for them. Like it was a lot of really good players. All gone. Doesn't matter. They're still good every week. They just like they find dudes now, which is not a thing Vancouver used to do. They just find dudes.
They found a dude named Thomas Muller.
Yeah, that's the other thing that like
and when we talked about him, we were like, this is one of those retirement feeling ones, but actually maybe this is gonna work. And it turned into the best case scenario for them. I mean, he's completely been their anchor. They swap, like we were like, he's flexible. They could slot him in a lot of places, and they're like, we need the 10. And we've got the double pivot to make it work, and we're just gonna switch the formation to be able to run the game through him.
Ralph Priso, who was like good in Toronto and then broke his leg and then got abandoned. Like that guy couldn't get
not good with Colorado.
He couldn't get a game in Colorado. He could barely get a game for Colorado too. He was one slot out of being best 11. That's how close he was. With like 2,000 minutes, he was one player away, which would have been crazy. Like they're legit really good. I will toot my own horn on Thomas Muller. I said like I think he'll settle into his role like pretty well actually. Of like he's not going to play every game, but he's going to play enough, and he'll be very impactful when he plays. Like I'm about it, and I will say, I think one of the things with the retirement league stuff, and Harrison, I'm curious what you think about this because we're going to talk about Heung-min Son later too. Is like actually so much of the retirement league stuff is tied to finish. Whee! I think it's offside, but we have some interest. I think so much of the retirement league stuff is actually tied to like how much does the player give a shit? Because physically, Insigne was in a better place than Heung-min Son was, and was in a better place physically than Thomas Muller was. But he came and did not care even a little bit right away, and it was a disaster. And yes, both like Vancouver and LAFC are much more stable situations than what Insigne came into. But like Bernardeschi came into the exact same team as Insigne and actually really cared and was really good. So I think like one of the things we have to like index for now is like, what's the probability this guy's going to really give a shit if he moves here? Because like Thomas Muller was about it, and Heung-min Son's been about it. But yeah, I think this one's not close. Harrison, do you have any takes on this series and this team?
I in fairness to Thomas Mueller, it wasn't just that it felt like
it was close.
Yeah, that was close. It wasn't just that he was coming for a big payday and he was leaving Bayern Munich. It was like, where is he going to play? Right? Like that wasn't the need that Vancouver had. Vancouver had so many needs along their back line that you kind of were like, this is your move. You're going to go sign somebody that is bona fidely like a great
Did you just say bona fidably?
Maybe.
Bro, that's all timer. That's going in the lexicon. Bona fidably.
I really hate that. I really hate. like, look, I think you guys need to understand.
Harrison.
We drive around and I'll say something and I'll stumble through a word, and my wife has to say it twice for me to be able to say it all the
No,
way
no,
through.
no, 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 no.
So,
Listen, listen.
like it's a real thing.
No,
Like,
this is from a place of love. That's like you made your own compound word, bro. You mixed bona fide and verifiably. See, sublime goal.
I'm
I
gonna
don't know.
verify those bona fides.
Yeah,
bona
you're
fides. Yeah,
bona fidably.
bona
Even
fide.
I don't know who Sublime
That's
Goal is,
that's
but
that's
Sublime
that's one
Goal's
of my
about
new
it.
portmanteaus over. Yeah.
Uh,
I'm gonna title this episode bona fidably.
I hope you do. That's great.
Okay,
So
continue. Sorry.
no, but like that wasn't what Thomas Mueller was brought here. Like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, that was the question. He was saying he was all bought into the Vancouver project, and you're like, cool. What are you doing?
Yeah, no,
And
there definitely was questions about role definition for sure.
Mm-hmm.
so, like, okay.
But
Uh,
he is. But think about. I think we probably all underestimated this. Like he's Thomas Muller. He's like the original guy with no role definition. He is the
you're right.
the
Mhm.
Raumdeuter. Like that's the
No,
thing, right?
totally fair. Like, that's what he's done for Germany for years. And, I think that what do the kids say? I apologize. I wasn't familiar with your game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Shaq, the
Like,
Shaq
Shaq
quote.
meme.
Yeah.
the Shaq meme. So I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like that's totally fair. I do want to throw this out. We're talking Vancouver, talking FC Dallas. Um, Kaladi,
Oh my goodness, that guy's data is nuts.
like it's 3 days. It's 3 games,
How do I spell his name?
but like
It's their like kid goalie who has been playing down the
he's
stretch.
24. He's not even a kid,
Yeah, but
brother.
he's a kid, but like
This
he's
is the
never
In
man.
no, but
goalkeeper years, that's a
he's
kid.
never played.
Yeah,
He's never played. He's never played. But yeah, he's like I think in he played the last
800
8 matches or
minutes.
something, and he's like 4 goals ahead of his XG.
He's 6.2 goals added in
Wait, is that what we
837
do?
minutes.
We have him as 6.2.
Yeah,
So-
in 800 minutes. Yeah.
I wonder what the deal is there because he is
Speaking of saves,
great
wow.
save. He is only 2.4 goals ahead on Opta. So I wonder what's going on there. I feel like sometimes we get really weird differences and stuff like that. I'm like I don't know why. But yeah, Harrison, make your point that like I know the point you're making, but make it.
I mean, you got to beat him. Yeah, like you don't even have to beat all of FC Dallas. You have to beat him. And Vancouver has a lot of great attacking players, but that FC Dallas defense over the past 6 weeks since he's taken over has looked strong.
And
Uh, so
and Takaoka is like extremely mid. Like he's career +2 in MLS, like in 3 seasons.
he's never been a particularly good.
No, he's steady
goalkeeper,
Eddie. He's like he
He's
doesn't.
he's middle of the pack. And I think he's kind of he has he gotten his green card? Is he still an internet? Is he still an international? Oh, green card. It's Canada. I
Yeah,
don't know how you guys do this.
so the Canadian MLS teams, because we don't have green cards and because getting your permanent residence takes significantly longer than getting a green card, the Canadian MLS teams all get 3 extra international slots.
Okay, so
Oh,
I missed it.
there was like a cutback through the 6, and he's just missed it.
Oh, dang! Like he didn't even connect. I saw it go.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Dang.
But yeah, so Vancouver presumably have him tied into one of their extra international slots, but he is, I believe, also out of contract this year.
Yeah, I don't see how you can re-sign him, and I think he was fairly well paid too. So it would make sense to. I wonder who's going after Nico Hansen from the Rapids because he was incredible and he was filling in for Stefan as a backup.
Takaoka makes $750.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, I thought it was that bad.
That's Sean Johnson money.
I thought it was like 600.
Yeah, that's I don't know about that one. Regardless, I
That's an area to
think,
improve.
yeah, for sure. I think the goalkeeper thing gives me pause. I think the center backs give me pause. I think the fact that there is not a single outfield player with more than 25 90s in a 35 match season gives me pause. Like, as much as like depth is useful, right? Like depth is great. It's really great to have depth. Love it. We love depth. But like in the playoffs you can play 11 guys and you play once a week. Like depth
Mhm.
doesn't matter. Um that it doesn't matter. It's the same thing in the NBA where they're like, "Yeah, we got 9 guys." And it's like, "Great, you're going to play 7 of them in the playoffs. Who cares?" Like I think it's nice that Vancouver have they got Rios and they got Nelson and Priso and Ngando and Jivan Badwal has been interesting and Rayan Alumi has been interesting since he came up. Like they got guys. They got guys. But like you're gonna play 13, 14 players every single game in the playoffs. Like
Well,
I don't know, guys 17 and 18 don't matter.
but guys 15 and 16 might matter for the conference final.
Maybe, but like the playoff schedule in MLS is pretty friendly to squads. Like you play the best of 3 and it's 1-1-1 a week. And then you play one game and then you have an international break. And then you play one game and then you have a week and then you play the final. Like it's not it's not brutal. And actually I think there's 2 weeks before the final. But regardless, like the
Well,
first the first
I
playoff games are in 2 days and the final is in 6 weeks and you have to play 6 games if you play
I
all of the games.
I don't think my point is necessarily soaking up minutes and exhaustion, more as you have more tools in your toolkit when you
That's
need to
fair.
make those game breaking subs
That's fair.
in those final moments of the single
Well,
elimination. Ooh.
and speaking of game breaking subs who have not played any minutes, like Ryan Gauld is back and he looks pretty damn
Hmm.
good and has not played all season. Like you have a presumably fresh Ryan Gauld going into the playoffs. You'll take it.
I mean, that's you can say that he's fresh, and you can say he doesn't have minutes on his legs, and that's all true. He also has spent the better part of the year rehabbing and trying to get match fit, which we've been told since July that
We st-
he's
yeah,
oh
we
he's
st-
been waiting for the medical team to approve him, and like that's time, dude. That's time. That's mental frustration and exhaustion. And yeah, I get what you're putting out. I get what you're. I absolutely get. I'm just playing a little bit of devil's advocate because you guys know how much I love Ryan Gauld. I think Ryan. I drafted Ryan Gauld, right? Like I love the dude. Uh, I I just worry about how he's going to come on and be able to respond in the playoffs.
yeah, I mean, we used to have this joke when I was playing in college that we used to do this like shooting drill where you would get 10 shots from the goalkeeper coach and he would always find like a rhythm at like shot 6 or 7 and we being the jokers we were used to commentate his like shooting on us. And so the line that we would say was, is he warmed up or is he worn down? And like with Ryan Gauld, like Ryan Gauld's definitely not worn down, but he might not be warmed up. He might not be sharp. So I think it's fair to have like worries about the center backs, and I think it's fair to look at Takaoka and be like, I don't know. And I think it's fair to say like, where's Gauld at? At the same time, Dallas have one question they can ask of you, and it's like, what can you do with Petar Musa? And the rest of the questions don't bother me at all. And I just don't think that's enough for this Whitecaps team. So I am going to take Whitecaps 2-0 in this series. Ben, where are you at?
Yeah, I think it's going to be 2 games to none.
Harrison.
Whitecaps.
Yeah, I think Ben and you are correct. But I will say Vancouver in three. I think Dallas will maybe make one game interesting.
I think there's a chance like Dallas are pretty tight defensively now. Like they take a game to PKs and win it. Like I think that's a totally reasonable.
Absolutely. That's kind of
Mhm.
what I'm leaning.
Doyle made a good point in relation to LAFC Austin, which we're going to talk about next, about like LAFC's lack of ability to break down low blocks, but Vancouver's strength in breaking down low blocks. And I think that's ultimately like Vancouver have been pretty good against teams who like sit off and let them have it.
Mhm.
I do wonder if I was the Dallas coach, I think my like ace up my sleeve, is that the expression? My ace up my sleeve would
Mhm.
be like, no, we're going to 3-5-2 and we're going to press you player to player. And we're just going to go like full, like out of nowhere, two strikers to your two center backs who are going to be like, who knows who. Um, like let me pull up Vancouver's lineup from the last game of the season against Dallas. Like it's Laborda, I think, um and Halbuni. Yeah, it's Laborda and Halbuni. Like I don't know. Like yeah, and Laborda will now be suspended. So
Well,
like
then if they do that, well, I mean, we've now proposed two different sort of game state scenarios here, which is option A, Dallas goes super low block and
I think that's what
Vancouver are
they'll
forced to
do.
pick them apart, or B, they do this, and if they do that, I think Sorensen will be smart enough because he's our coach of the year. I think he's just going to run away with coach of the year at this point. He's smart enough to be like, hey, don't play at the back. Like if they're pressing you, just clear it. And we still have the like if they want the ball, if they're gonna do that, okay, then just give them the ball. And if they're good, like they don't have the tact, like they've Dallas has gotten hot, but not in a way that they can consistently build from the back through this 3-5-2 structure to break down another low block who just are willing to get rid of it. And I'm convinced, like, how many times have we seen Brian White take a long ball down with his chest in the box and put it in the back of the net?
Oh,
Like
and then
that
it's
is
over.
still
It's
that
over.
is that is still like I don't know if Dallas really like they have that option, but I think there's a tactical way out of it. And I think Vancouver is eminently capable and of finding that way out with Sorensen and then executing it with this roster.
Alrighty.
Is Vancouver the most versatile attacking team in the MLS playoffs?
Gut answer, yes.
Yeah, yeah, I think they are.
Gut
Because
answer,
I
yes.
think there's weakness for every other team. Like, what if Miami loses Messi? What if Columbus can't keep the ball in midfield? What if San Diego slips up with their defensive possession? Like, when they get pressed to hell. Like, I think there's weaknesses, but yeah, I think there's a lot more ways out for Vancouver than most other teams.
I,
Yeah.
I I worry the most about their defense. I don't worry about their attack. I feel like their attack's going to find ways to put the ball on the net to create opportunities. I don't worry about them doing the goal thing, putting the goal in, putting the ball on the goal.
No, I agree. I think but I also think like they have the midfielders and the attackers that like if they get stuck and have to go direct, they're fine. If they face a low block and have all the ball and have to attack small spaces, they're fine. Like I don't worry about them so much. Like play a back three, don't mind. Play a back four, don't mind. Like I think they're fine. A team who is decidedly less versatile but is probably more rich in quality is LAFC, who have had the dynamic duo of Buanga and Heung-Min Son just like ripping the whole league since Heung-Min Son joined from Tottenham. They play Austin, who after spending $30 million on strikers decided actually we're going to play the most haram soccer you have ever seen in my life. Um, and Doyle thinks that they will be a tricky matchup and it will be difficult for LAFC to get their stuff off, particularly in relation to like switches and diags and that sort of thing. I don't think LAFC will have a tremendous amount of trouble with this series. Um, I think Austin are like actually not that good a defensive team. I think Stuver is really good, and you have the like looming specter of if it goes to PKs, you got to face Brad Stuver. Uh, but I don't think there's very much there from this Austin team, as it were. Yes, they beat LAFC the second last game of the season, but I don't look at this and think much. I mean, they beat LAFC both times they played them this season, but I don't really worry about it that much, which is a weird thing to say when they beat them both times, and both games were pretty even. Harrison, LAFC, are you in? Are you out? Are you shaking it all about?
Yeah, I think shaking it all about's about the equivalent. Like I have no thoughts right now on LAFC or on Austin at this point in time. I'm kind of I'm fried with LAFC, and I think at this point in time I have no idea what they are, what they are exposed to be outside of Bouanga and the rest of the team just go ahead and they'll run forward and try to counter and make something good happen.
I'll tell you what LAFC are. They are the pinnacle of what Steve Cherundolo has always wanted them to be, which is solid in defense and with the most killer counterattack you can imagine. And I actually do think this is probably the most dangerous their counterattack has ever been. They are one dimensional, but I think that dimension is so strong that I think it's gonna at least overwhelm Austin. They're my pick for MLS Cup is LAFC. I think Son and Buonga are going to be unstoppable. I think they're too good for pretty much any defense, at least definitely in the West, and probably against Miami too, who I have going to the final on the East side. So I like when we talked Vancouver, I'm like, I think LAFC has the best attack outside Miami, and I think when you match up star power, I actually do think Son plus Buonga is equal to Messi, and then I go with defense. And LAFC has just had one of the best defenses. Austin has not had an attack. Like they are. I think it's 40 goals added as a team, which is bottom half of the league, and it's like 2/3 of what LAFC were able to put together, something close to that. So it's really not close in terms of underlying numbers between these two teams, and I just think it's going to be too overwhelming for Austin because they're going to have to come out of their shell to win a game at some point. Like I don't think they can just do nil PKs their way to victory. I don't think that's feasible.
I think. Look, I think if you look at LAFC's set of results for the year, right? They would not. They would not profile. That was a. That would have been a crazy goal. I do not think
Cool.
that they profile the way we think they do, which is like a weird thing to say. Because, like, you look at them and they're like bunker counter, transition guys. Like, they should struggle against teams worse than them and be good against teams at like better teams that want to have the ball and will like let you counter them. But you look at the games they lost this year, okay? They lose a kind of fluky one. Whatever. If I just go the league, we'll ignore the Cups. They lose to Seattle, who are really good. They lose to Austin. Let's put that aside. They lose to San Diego, who are really good. They lose to Vancouver, who are really good. They lose to San Diego, who are really good. They lose to Austin again. They lose to Houston, and they lose to Portland, who have Etsy witches buried under the stadium. Like, of their
Yeah,
losses,
and that's where they live. Don't blame the unhoused.
of the of their losses, there are mostly pretty good teams against the teams that you would say like are worse than them. Will give them a hard time, like smash Toronto, beat Atlanta, smash St. Louis, smash RSL, smash San Jose, smash the Revs, smash the Fire, smash Dallas, smash Colorado, smash Seattle, who is not bad. I don't know why I said them. Smash Houston, like smash SKC. Like they've been pretty good against the teams they're supposed to beat. And so like I look at that And admittedly, a lot of those are like back four games, and now they're 5-3-2 split strikers. Let's go to the two fast guys, which fair enough. But I think they had a bit of like late season malaise that they were like, all right, we can't really move up or down. Like we're not going to catch the top two guys, but we're not going to get caught by anyone below us. And so I think they're just going to walk Austin. Like I don't think it's going to be a thing. Like I don't see how Austin scores. Like
I mean, that's the thing is I really don't see how Austin scores, and LAFC can like Dennis Bouanga, even without Son, Dennis Bouanga couldn't conjure a goal out of nothing if you give him that track.
No, you can't. Rule of cool, you can't disallow it. Rule of cool, you can't disallow it. Hold on a second.
We got
to see. We got a review.
I need a replay.
Okay, he tackled the wall. All right, fair enough. That's not allowed.
He tackled the wall.
That is not allowed. You can't.
Like, first of all, why do you hate ingenuity? Why do you hate ingenuity?
You can't tackle the wall. If there's a wall of three players, you're not allowed to stand within 1 meter of it. So that's the first rule. But you definitely can't tackle.
He wasn't. In fairness, he wasn't standing. He was lunging.
You know what the worst part is? I don't think he even needed to do that. I think that would have gone in anyway.
No, it would have.
Yeah,
oh my
it probably
God.
would have. That's the frustrating part is that in that scenario, it actually probably had a very minimal influence. But you can't say it was a zero influence.
Still not as bad as Moranchuk blocking that Bayumba shot from like 1 yard away against the Rapids.
Yeah. I think really cool though. Like that goal should count. Also, like I kind of want this to go to PKs.
Yeah, we need a good shootout. You need a good early round West.
Break
Coast
the seal. Break the PK seal.
Here's this is gonna be weird coming from me. It's funny because for those that aren't in our Slack chat, and we actually, I feel like I have to say I love talking with you guys off when we're not doing this because I feel like we have good conversations. But you were like, "What are you doing? RSL's playing tonight. You're a RSL guy. This is So with that in mind, as the RSL guy, I guess, I think Portland has looked better. I think Portland has been better. I kind of hope Portland goes on because I think that it will make a better game in the future. So long as they play like this.
Well, we'll talk about San Diego. We'll talk about that series last. We'll see what happens. Yeah, my big thing with Austin is just like who scores. Like they had 40 xG this whole season. Brandon Vasquez shot or created 11 of it. He is gone. Murto Azuni is 13 of it, which is actually a pretty respectable number and honestly significantly better than I thought he put up this season. But other than him, it's like, can you hope Owen Wolf kicks it good? Like that's their team ethos, and I don't think that's a vibe. They lost to the Earthquakes. They got whooped by the Quakes on the final day. They lost to St. Louis the game before that. They lost to RSL the game before that. They haven't scored more than one goal in the last 5 games.
St. Louis. We could have jumped all through.
St. Louis. So I'm gonna go straight to it. I think LAFC win in 2. I don't think Austin take a game.
Yep. Same.
Harrison.
Yeah, this is not an interesting game. Like LAFC is just gonna. You guys have been far more kind. It's not interesting to me.
Minnesota, Seattle, very interesting to all of us. Harrison,
this would be cool.
You as a failed Mariner fan, and well, not failed. You succeeded as a fan, but the Mariners failed, so you're not the failed. But as like Mariners light against Minnesota, the smartest team in the land, I think this is a really fun series. And what I will say is I despise MLS for scheduling this game on the Monday for no reason when it's in Seattle, because now I'm not going to Seattle. And the whole point was I was going to go to that game and see my friends. And now it's on a Monday, so I'm not going to go. And I can't.
I don't know what friends you're going to see.
I don't know if you should be walking into Seattle.
I was talking about Matthias, saying I got to see Matthias. No,
You
I'm
better be
kidding.
talking about Matthias
I'm
because I'll be walking around putting kick me signs on the back of your
kidding.
back like it was ninth grade. Like
Harrison's like, I'm gonna pick you up at the airport, and he's gonna jump me when I get there.
I'm
No,
gonna pick you up and throw you off a dock.
I think that this is a
Failed Mariner. You just said failed Mariner.
yeah.
Are you out of your damn mind?
I'm not gonna lie to you when
Failed Mariner.
I'm not gonna lie to you when good save. When Eugenio hit the grand slam, I thought it was over. I thought whoever won Game 5, it was toast. I thought there was no chance. So I'm not gonna. I didn't believe until I believed. I'll put it that way. I
Uh,
can't remember. I don't think did I tell you guys where I was when I watched it and how this came about.
you did, but please tell for the audience.
So
I think it's a great story. So please do.
so I was in the lab at work because I was at work till 10 p.m. because I'm an addict, and uh, I'm like fixing a piece of equipment that broke during the day, and it was like important. Whee! Come
Off.
on,
Is it
Miller!
off?
It is not on first glance, so let's see what
All
camera angles they
right.
got. So as we wait for this decision, so I am like repairing this piece of equipment, and it's like 8:30 at night, maybe, and I'm not actively watching it. I'm following it on social media and on Google. And my friend texts me. He's like, "Turn it on," because they got the first guy on base in the seventh inning. And so I put it on while I'm working there. Was he onside? Definitely. Justin
Yes.
Glad, you poor soul.
Yo, man. I mean, those clearances. Like they
Yeah,
had three chances to clear that and they didn't.
it's a great. Harrison, you see who hit that? You see who put that cross in? See who put
I
that
didn't
cross in?
see. Sorry, I didn't see who put it in. Who put it
That's
in?
that's your boy. That is your boy Ariel Lassiter.
You know what? It's funny. He was traded for Miller.
Well,
Yeah,
he just assisted Miller. What do you mean he
that's
was traded
funny.
for Miller?
With the Ariel Lassiter and
Oh
Kamal
yeah,
Miller
to
in the Miami
Miami.
trade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Miller left and Lassiter. No, other way.
No, yeah,
I don't
Miller went to
remember.
Oh,
Miami from
Yeah.
Montreal.
Yeah. And
Right?
Lassiter
No.
went to Montreal.
I don't
Yes.
know. Whatever. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I
You're
just
right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love how I just wrinkled everything
Oh my
by
God.
saying
Yeah, yeah,
that's what
yeah.
he was traded for.
Well done. Ooh.
Anyways,
Ah.
the Springer hits the home run, and I'm in the lab, and I have shrieked so loudly that security have come to investigate, thinking something has happened in the lab. It's pretty funny. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
No, no, sorry. Oh, sorry. Blue
Yeah.
Jays got a home run, eh?
Sorry. Yeah, that's exactly it. Blue Jays got a home run, eh, bud? Yeah, it was good. So in this series, though, I think like I don't know, man. Like if they could find a way to draw a 3-game series, they would. Like both of these teams, I think, are legit good. Seattle have a significantly better underlying set of numbers, plus 15 expected goal difference. Minnesota are plus 1. However, a huge amount of that is baked into how Minnesota play. That like they are actively looking to concede territory and actively looking to soak up pressure. Like they are so designed to play that way. And like they're plus 17 goal difference. Now, do I think they're 16 goals to the good on that? No, probably not. Like I think the Sounders are a better team. Do I think the gap between these teams is like significantly smaller than the underlings? Yes. Is it like maybe a little bit bigger than home field advantage to me? Yeah, probably in that realm. Um, what I will say is this, because there's 6 minutes plus added time left in this game. San Diego is gonna whoop the shit out of Portland, and it doesn't matter. So I don't even want to talk about that series. So what I will say is
Yeah.
San Diego will beat them.
Well, if not, maybe things are going to be a little more difficult if there's no Irving Lozano.
If there's no Chucky, I think
Yeah.
that is true.
No Chucky.
But I would still, even no Chucky, take.
Yeah, I would. It might be 3, but I'd still go San Diego.
I will go San Diego in 3 because I think they'll choke a game. Harrison, where are you at?
I take Portland 2-1.
Okay. And Ben, are you San Diego in 3?
Yeah, San Diego in
Okay.
three.
Now we can talk about Seattle, Minnesota until this game ends. If you look at their games this season, Minnesota wins 1-0 in a like 1-0, 2-1, 1-1 ish game on XG, and they lose 3-2 in a game that Minnesota kind of whoops them. That is Seattle, rather. Those are the Seattle results. I think Seattle are poorly suited to play a team who plays the way Minnesota do. However, Minnesota down the stretch of the season played like a team poorly suited to do the thing that Minnesota does. They beat RSL, but they give up a lot and don't get really good transitions out of them. They draw the Timbers in what was an even game. They beat San Diego in excuse me, a pretty classic Minnesota game. They get whooped by the Fire in a not Minnesota game. They draw the Rapids in a not very Minnesota game. They beat SKC in a not very Minnesota game, and they lose to Galaxy in a not very Minnesota game. I think I would take Seattle. I think I would take them in 3 because I don't see the solutions for Minnesota if they don't score first. And I think that the loss of Tani Olosei is like just a huge problem that there isn't a solution for it. They didn't get a solution. So I don't know. You tell me. You tell me, Harrison, as the resident Seattler, where's your head at?
I think you summed it up perfect. The recent changes that Minnesota has instilled in their overall team shape and their structure over the last 4 weeks, even 6 weeks, has been concerning. I feel like this was a team that was built to win tournaments, not win in the regular season, and they kind of shot themselves in the foot. Uh, I
They played a back four the last 2 games of the season. They haven't played a back four any ever. I will check right now while you continue your point. But
no,
I'm pretty
it's
sure they've never played a back four under the English ex Chelsea guy, Man
Ramsey.
United, Eric Ramsey.
Welsh.
Thank you.
Welsh.
Yes, you're right. They did. They played like a handful at the start of his tenure. They played 5, but they haven't played it for 2 years. It's crazy.
It's very peculiar. It there's a part of me that wonders if they didn't just spend these 2 games to see if they could do something different, not worrying about what the results are, and just kind of see if they could do something different for different sake, give it a different look, give it stretch some different muscles, try a few things that they haven't had the opportunity to try. Because to be perfectly honest, they had very little to lose over the next 2 weeks or over
No,
these.
they
It's
were
true.
locked in the fourth. You're right.
Hmm. And I will
So
say I'm looking at their minutes since September, and it's spread all over the place. Like they've been going through their roster up and down and actually getting people, and so it hasn't been the regular old crew. I mean, some of that is because the regular old
they've
crew
been
fell
managing.
off or
Yeah.
left the team, but I don't know if that's on purpose or if that's desperation or what, but they've they have been different, and if I wonder if that is like you're saying, flexing those other muscles so that they have them ready to use when they need them, or is it actually things are falling apart and it's a sign of what they've been relying on isn't there anymore? Because I feel like their game model hasn't evolved past the very specific, margin min
No, it
maxing
hasn't.
type
It
of
hasn't.
stuff, and the roster hasn't improved, and the players on it are not performing like they were for the first half to 2/3 of the season. So I am leaning Sounders. I do think like Minnesota is like you're all saying, they play that tournament soccer. So I think they're going to take the game at home. They've been very dominant at home playing that style, but I think the Sounders are the more complete team.
Look, I mean, they got a huge offer for Tanny. Like I get it.
Yeah. Mm.
I just think like if your like identity to score goals is that your left back is going to score off of 9-second balls, like you are inherently at the mercy of
Bounce.
the footballing gods. Like you have very little control over what happens to you. And so like if you ask me what if you told me that Minnesota will score the first goal in at least one game, I would pick them to win the series, I think. Because I think if they score first, they'll win the game. But I just don't know. I just don't know if they like Yaboa had a really down year compared to last year, like which is even kind of crazy. He's like 10 XG and 23 90s, but he's not been that fit. Joaquin Pereira had a nice year. They didn't get that much from Longwane compared to what they were expecting. Robin Laud gave them very little compared to past years. Like just like the other dudes, and then they didn't replace Tanny, and like they have very smart people doing their recruitment, and like and again as like to say like the three of us know nothing about ASA's involvement in Minnesota other than it
Mm.
exists. So like, but Mike is very smart, and Hank and all the Minnesota people are pretty switched on. Like
No, we know who they are. We know who
Mm.
they are, and we're familiar enough with them as people that we very much respect what they do.
I
Mm.
would bet that they'll go get somebody good in the summer, but like somebody or in the off season, but somebody good in the off season doesn't help them in this playoff run now. I
Yeah.
also a lot of people seem to think Ramsey is gone this year. That like he will choose to leave to go do something else, which I find quite fascinating.
I mean, I haven't heard anything along. That's definitely not a thought that had crossed my mind. I assume he's gonna
Yeah.
come back and keep like hopefully add more dimensions to this because I feel like that's what he's. I feel like he might be the weakest link. Like he's done something this league has never seen in terms of which margins he's trying to exploit, and I don't know if that's his philosophy or if that's something
So
he's wanted to try and realized he has Michael Boxall and can actually has the player to make it happen.
so what I will say is like pre Minnesota, he was the coach at Manchester. He was an assistant coach for
Mm-hmm.
Manchester United's
Menu.
first team. He was a set piece coach.
Mm-hmm.
At Chelsea, prior to that, he was the head coach of some of the academy teams, and his teams played a dummy attacking 3-4-3, like obnoxiously aggressively attacking. And it was like pretty good. He also it's Chelsea's academy, like they have a talent advantage
Yeah.
against everyone they play,
Yep.
but they played like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's like a pretty malleable guy.
Okay.
Um, but I don't know. I would
Mm.
be. I don't think he's like amazing, but I don't think he.
Yeah,
I
I don't think there's any reason to think that he'll do worse next year for sure. I think he will continue to build to this team, especially with an off season, because this team needs an off season to reload. But
yeah,
I think the foundation's still there, and I think they can add to it. But I
but
think he's going to have to show that to get that next leap back to the British Isles or wherever he wants to end up in his career. I don't if I were looking to hire from MLS, this is not what I'd want to see more than this. I'd be like, okay, you understand this game, but
no.
we
If I
need to
was
see that flexibility in the team now that you are the lead guy
yeah,
going forward.
if I was like a low end championship team trying to do an analytics, I would happily hire him. But if I was like
Okay.
a relegated Premier League team
Hmm.
trying to come back up, I probably would not.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like you are somewhat like the image he has presented is like low block transition set piece guy. Like that's if you want someone to do that for you, you're
Hmm.
probably more open
He
to
can
it.
do that.
Um, what I will say in the context of him for their playoff run though is I think Schmetzer is a really good coach, but I think the thing Schmetzer is good at is not the like tweaky single game stuff. And I think between those two, I would probably give Ramsey the edge to the tweaky single game stuff. But with that being said, I think Seattle are just enough better and Minnesota are enough adrift right now that even without the loss of the league's best attacking midfielder slash winger in Pedro de la Vega, Seattle will take this series 2-1. Is my pick.
We're just gonna clip that 5 seconds and play it over and
That's what can
over
I
and
say? I think he is a
over.
remarkable talent. No, I will say like I will say on De La Vega, like he has legitimately been much better this year than
You
last
know
year.
he's out for the season, right?
Yeah, that's what I just said. I said that they'll
Oh,
be able to cope without
I
him.
missed up. Sorry.
Um, you glazed over when I said he's great. But no, he has been.
Yeah, my brain stopped working at that point in time. So
No, he has been legitimately much better this year. Like I still don't think he has been like $10 million DP attacker good, but he's been a useful positive contributor even if he only has played 1390s. But I think Seattle take it in 3 games. Ben, where are you at?
Yeah, I'll go with that. 3 games. They're my pick.
Harrison, are you going to bet against yourself?
I really struggle to buy into Minnesota not being Minnesota, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Are you
I
saying you buy that it'll work, or you buy that they'll do it? Because I think they'll
I
do it. I just don't think it'll work.
I don't buy. I'm saying I don't buy into the narrative that Minnesota is
You think the reports of Minnesota's
taking a
death are
step back.
premature?
Yes, yes.
So
With that being said, Seattle has played so many games this season.
That's
So
not. That's a good point. That's a really good point. They've had the competition. I mean, they went to the final of the League's Cup. They were in the Club World Cup. Like
that was
they
so
have
long
miles.
ago. Holy.
I know. I know.
and you got to think that it wasn't just Leagues Cup; it was FIFA World Cup. It
Yeah.
was like all the things that these guys have
And then
done.
that means that their
And
back end schedule was more busy too. Like they've had more games recently than other teams because they've had to catch up on the games they missed the
What
weeks
is
and
that
then
they
not
missed.
what
and
is
then
Phil
even before
Neville?
that they had World.
What is
Go
he?
ahead.
What is he complaining about? You're winning by 2 goals, and there's no
It's
time left. What are you
it's
get?
Phil
And
Neville.
you're wearing all green. You look like the Green Giant. Sorry,
Maybe.
continue. Finish your
Oh, I,
Sounders point.
I I had something very inflammatory to say that probably wasn't right anyways. It would have got can't be canceled. Like I just think I worry about where Seattle is right now. Though I will say I really like that Jordan Morris is back, and I feel like Roldan is kind of gotten over his knock that he had there in August and late August. So I don't know. Maybe I think I'll take Seattle in 3, but I think that it's super close. And honestly, I could see Minnesota taking both the games and going up 2-0. But I will take Seattle just because Seattle.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, so wrapping up the West then. Uh we are all taking San Diego. We are all taking Seattle. We are all taking LAFC. We are all taking Vancouver. No, you're taking Portland
You're
because
taking
you're a
Portland,
yeah,
Harrison?
yeah, whatever. No, you
I
aren't.
don't
You're just
know.
being a contrarian.
I don't know.
I am not. I'm going to tell you right now that without a goal scoring option, San Diego is toothless,
They
and all
have
they're going to do is
Dryer
pass
put
the
up
ball.
20
They're
and
going to pass the
20.
ball in a fucking circle, in a square, and they're going to hope that
That's a
like
U. That's a
Diego
U.
Chara doesn't have any more legs left
Diego
after
Chart
that.
doesn't have any more legs left.
Well,
That's a U. That's a U.
then they might be right.
All right. Well, this game ended. Portland won 3-1. This was very fun, gentlemen.
This is
And
a
I
blast.
hope the handful of you watching along are bona fidably chuffed at how today went. So we will definitely do this again in the future, and we will definitely post about it more than 1 hour before we did it because we had a lot of planning into this. Um, But
We definitely didn't wing this at all. No way.
we'll wrap it like we do every podcast. If you want to support the show, if you want to support ASA, there's one way to do it. It's the Patreon. I'm pretty sure everyone in the chat is already in the Patreon. But if you're not, that's the way to do it. There's one tier. It's $5 a month. You get access to all sorts of tools. The Viz Hub is now publicly available to everybody. Thank you to Catabush for that. That was genuinely one of the coolest things we put out in quite some time. I say
Yes.
she put out
Yeah.
because it was all her. And we just use it. And I'm so excited for previews this year because we're going to have a style guide. Everybody has to use the Viz Hub or it's got to be a custom plot. That's it. And yeah, the Patreon, it's the Analysis Evolved Patreon. I think if you type that in, you can find it. But that's it from us. The playoffs start in a few days. Well, the playoffs have already started, but the real playoffs, the play-in game doesn't count. And we will see how it goes. We'll be back probably between game 2 and game 3, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do from there. But as always, my friends, enjoy the soccer.